Well, hello and welcome back to the NECC as we jump into playoffs, the first week of playoffs. We are ready to roll with some Counter-Strike. My name is Vincent, joined by Get the Bag Mark. Marky, how are you doing on this beautiful, fine evening for Counter-Strike?
Ah, man, it happens. It happens. But you know what, Vincent? We're breaking off the rust just right here at the beginning of our playoff run on the broadcast. So maybe players can do the same. You know, they rustled it out. Exciting times. Man, train on the horizon. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you're a little late to the party. I already got my playoff run started with Valorant on Monday, so sorry, pal.
Sue me.
Gotta,
Oh, well.
gotta get moving a little quicker, but we are gonna keep moving. And talk a little bit about the actual game that we have coming up. This one I'm excited for. We got Michigan Maize and NCSU, a head-to-head that I think is cool for a couple of reasons. But the one that I am most interested in is that both of these teams kind of playing it, just outside of the top upper echelon of their group, right? And they were able to pick up wins, but lost to the best of the best in their group. It's number 2 seed for Michigan, and for NCSU, they're number 3 behind both Northwood and Fisher, I think it was. So yeah, this is pretty interesting.
I definitely agree. I think that we've seen this Michigan Maize squad a couple of times. I think the only one time we saw NCSU was, unfortunately for them, not a particularly atrocious. It was actually an atrocious outing, excuse me. And it wasn't particularly well for them. Of course, they went up against the big giants of Fisher College, who, unfortunately for them, are going to be waiting on the other side of this bracket. But there's always a bounce back potential with that. And honestly, I gotta say, Michigan Maize over here on the left side of this bracket, Vincent, is what's going to be in the back of Fisher's minds right here. But I don't think they're going to be really getting out of this round 16 without a huge conversation, because you see the veto and where it's laid out, we are in for a great one.
Yeah, I mean, these quarterfinals, I think, going to be interesting, but in general, this veto is exactly what I expected on one hand, not so much on the other. First, the expectation for me was to see Ancient Michigan. When we saw them before, they're interested in playing this map. Doesn't really matter who they're going up against. It's one that they will play. Now, I know that NCSU has a pretty decent Ancient, so that's going to be cool to kind of see how this goes. That said, I'm really pumped to see the Vertigo. I haven't seen NCSU play Vertigo. They played Overpass, so I think that it's a bit of an adjustment for them, as they've had to swap up the pool considering Overpass removal between last semester and this semester.
Right. I mean, that's a big shakeup. I mean, I think of another team in North America. I know like FlyQuest Red really, particularly with quite those two maps, I mean, had to get that shake up on their own metric. During that first series that we got to see them play versus Fisher, that was not one that the Fisher boys were messing with at all. It forced them onto a Inferno map 1, and then onto an Anubis map 2, which is what you see up here third, which, look, I gotta say, against those boys of Fisher College, you're not normally gonna look too great when, I gotta say, it was kind of a really scrappy beginning of the game for them financially. Couldn't really end up stepping into it too hard. hard, but, you know, it's interesting that both of these teams step into the ring today off of the storyline of, you know, just being at the bottom out, just being here, but able to sneak into the quarterfinals, having a chance is what matters.
That it does. And, well, it's NCSU. Going to start out here defensively. And on the B side, they've got 3 strong in this direction, but they're up against the full exec. That's Electric, who takes a dink off the rip. Or Kranich pushes his way in, and Mr. Myers is able to defend from default very well. Eventually dead, but Solaris, 1 HP, not enough to stand tall even further in the cave side. It'll be Michigan having control of this site, but the bomb dropped, and that's problematic, as Jaguar still fully occupies Tufafu with a double up that's maybe going to set this up for success.
And this is Nafafu, the star of the roster, the man that's got to lead him in, but is currently looking the wrong way, and NCSU is going to pick up a much-needed pistol round on a CT side of Ancient that needs everything going for it, money included, and that's going to be a big one to pull over here at the beginning. Look, this is a team that gets a lot of other reps outside of even the collegiate brackets, Vincent. When I was looking into it, they're 8-3. In ESEA IM, and so this is where they get to, you know, kind of particularly veto out into some of their maps that, you know, we even kind of strike our eyes to. You know, they have very, very good results over there on their Vertigo, but it's not too rare for them, right, to see an ESEA IM team want to kind of pick into an Ancient against an Anubis against them, which is where you see, you know, this veto go, excuse me, and I gotta say, it's going to be looking very nicely for them. I know you're staring down, which in my opinion, Michigan Maize, this is a very nice comfort pick for them. I mean, we got to watch this team on Ancient a few times. I mean, when Snufafu can get going early, like we've seen these shots, it should be a very, very close game, Vincent, but they need this pistol so very badly on this CT side to get this BO3 started the way they want it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? I think that getting those reps in is so important, like you were talking about, for the, you know, just whether it be in collegiate or not. But that opens up the proceedings. That opens everything up for you to have these options. And for NCSU specifically, who I think maybe come into this slight underdogs, and I say very slight. I'm excited. I think that them picking up this pistol, it's the right direction. And look at 5 MP9s, man. 5 MP9s, and it's just Glocks on the other side for the most part. That is a risky maneuver potentially, but one that's going to pay off more than likely.
Yeah, some Counter-Strike experts, though, do throw their hat into the ring saying that this investment doesn't go past round 2. So yeah, better pass with flying colors here. Long range with the MP9, maybe not what it's built for here. Backing it up and trying to just try and funnel them right into Donut will likely be the plan. And Tristan will be the man. A flash up to try and give him a peek, and he will sneak in, but not that quietly. Loud and proud in their faces, Vincent, but yet does not go down. NCSU find a second round on top of their heads just like that.
Let them sing. Let them just walk through and find success, man. Those SMGs. Now you're looking at a really big bonus, right? So much that you could get away with if you can win with these SMGs, but unlikely. Here's something that's very odd. Michigan taking their second tack in the first 2 rounds. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's seeming like there's something up with Snufafu at the beginning of this one, which is a little unfortunate, and with circumstances that you can't necessarily control, whatever's going on, crashing you out. Obviously, we just saw an 8 GB update happen right before this, though I will knock on my wooden desk, because the servers have been working particularly better than we thought they would, Vincent. Snufafu rejoins.
I thought it would be the struggle bus to get things rolling, but to be fair, it didn't update the face it map pool, so
totally.
I guess that's all good. The other thing that I didn't know coming into this that maybe we should talk about, Iwij? I don't know how to say this guy's name. I apologize, but not the normal starter for Michigan from what I understand. Dualjack not in the server tonight.
Yeah, Doljak a pretty no name on the squad as well for the manpower. And right here where it shows up, it's next man up. It's Asian for show, and he's got 2 right at the beginning of this round and move into cave. And Electric just trying to spam around this. Honestly, close to the mark, but does he know? The answer is no. Michigan Maize, they force it through their brutality, Vincent, to get their first T round on the board.
You saw the idea, right? NCSU trying to get up in their face and play a more aggressive style of Counter-Strike in that third round, just because they know they have the SMGs. They want to make it so that Michigan are uncomfortable, but the bodies tossed at cave just get mowed down by the AK. It's so free, at least it looks that way for Michigan, as they rocket their way into the first gun round victory. Though Arcanic, that's not ideal. Takes a ton of damage just getting out mid, but it's all gonna be easy from that point on. That damage early, not a problem when you're winning those duels. Everybody walking out, it's a double up to get Michigan Maize, both mid and the A site.
Mom, can we get a liege on the way home? We have a liege at home. Liege. This is crazy. I mean, those are some crazy entries that you're initially kind of flipping this game right into... screw a tie game. The money's ruined for NCSU. You know, throw your beginning of the game wonders probably into the trash. Honestly, holding on to these last 2 guns is pretty important, though not going to make too large of a difference. Michigan Maize waking up and showing us that even with a substitute, they are who they are in Ancient.
Yeah, it's the pace that is interesting to talk about for me. First and foremost, when we're looking at the way that Michigan are approaching this map, that first round was a statement. Just a, no holds barred duel inside of Cave, and Michigan come out on top. The second round, it's another statement, but in a different fashion. It's a mid take with some oomph behind it, a little bit of flashing to kind of set them up for success. And NCSU find out real quick that that's an area they have to use utility to clear out early if they want it. They can't have it for free.
Every piece matters on Ancient. That's what we're going to come to find out pretty quickly here. Tristan and the boys, they just have to know that this one's going to come right over their heads. Interesting here, kind of creeping up with these pistols. Don't get too interested in this. Oh, and Electric actually team kills there. However, Arcanic does go down, but the AK picked up, and Snuvafu is just trying to sweep up in middle. Snarf with a little bit of trouble, but the bodyguard just around the corner, and it's looking like Michigan is about to just steal the lead back.
I grabbed that one up. It's not too big a deal for NCSU, but Wolfpack needing something in this next round. I'm looking at this, and my thoughts are that Michigan are getting too much of this early control, and NCSU have 2 options, right? They can fight for B lane and mid, or they can kind of give that area and play to retake it.
I mean, we'll see exactly what the diagnosis is back from the gun round, because it was even very interesting coming off of their bonus that they marched out with 5 MP9s, now just ran down Tristan at the end. Oh, how quickly Tristan has fallen. Once from the Donut King, now back off of the throne. It's where Snuvafu has sat a lot, Vincent, more often times than not, when Michigan Maize has been really ripping it off against every single team, but Texas A&M, who are just sitting on the other side of the bracket, ready in just a week from now to take on Northwood.
Yeah, that other side of the bracket already setting it up, man. Yeah. It's terrifying, to be honest with you. I think both these guys probably a little bit happy they don't have to deal with that, but they're going to have their own struggles, both here in this quarterfinal matchup and in the following. Regardless of who it is, it's that little bit of a slower pace, not from NCSU, but from Michigan. NCSU taking the space that I was referring to that sort of they required, but it's half measures. They have mid control, but they haven't been able to hold on to lane in that same fashion. But one comes after the other. Once you get lane, you can force your way into mid through force indeed. Maize goes 1 for 1, but Tristan, he's so stuck, and Asia Fosho will clean him out of Cubby.
Yeah, and I gotta say that Tristan and Maize in later edition retake Ancient, holds that we've seen have been quite strong. Mr. Myers trying to poke in, electric around the corner. And Michigan Maize just leave them with no time. I mean, they're aggressively going for each part of the map. You know, some teams just straight up run it through onto the A site, get that post plant. They say, no, we just killed your entire middle defense. We know that you have to rotate in through B. We just meet you at house and close the round. It's as easy as that, Vincent.
That calls into question NCSU's game plan. They'll take a tactical timeout, get Towish on the mic to talk about it, their coach, and hopefully puzzle out what's been going wrong. From the outside looking in, though, maybe we can take a gander at that same problem and do some solving. For me, NCSU, they've got some good ideas here. Michigan just have some crazy firepower right now that they're breaking that apart. Good utility as well to make it so that when NCSU are holding space, that they're never fighting on their own terms.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, even in that last example of middle where it's like a quote-unquote favorable fight, like you're still up in your protocol of the two players being in that setup in middle, trying to work off of each other with the couple of nades that they do have, right? It's like 4 players off of a flash of Michigan Maize running them down. And it's always into favorable fights, but it's the decisions they make. Here, maybe the numbers don't exactly equal the firepower. However, Snafafu still lifts big.
I mean, 9-5 now. Michigan have B, and it's A that Tristan will slink away to try to save or at least get an exit with this 5-7, no armor to speak of. So, I mean, the save wouldn't necessarily be worth all that much. It was a good idea. NCSU, they focus in on that, like, they know what the problem is, and so a stack up towards mid, not a bad idea in the slightest. It's just Snafafu is an unstoppable force right there. Breaks off 4 kills and sends them into the next round with basically nothing for their trouble.
I mean, he's a guy that's completely going to feel like he's going to anchor the half over towards Michigan before we even reach the end of the first half here. So, I mean, at 10-5, 176 ADR, a lot of which I will kind of, pedal him down. It's been against some eco rounds. We know how this goes, but regardless, it's not going to feel good for the Wolfpack. They're going to have to stand up to this, but alone, kind of split apart in middle, Maize and Tristan, they go to fight again. However, Michigan Maize, they haven't started bugging anywhere else. Rather, they keep it active on the extremities. Now they have Snarf's hop up, but Snafafu goes too far.
A rare situation. We've really not seen Michigan punished in that fashion yet. So, an important duel in that way. Morris and Mr. Myers, though, tagged up heavily in the defense of the D-bomb site.
Wow.
Seen, spotted, removed. Snarf's AWP. Oh, and this could be bad news if Mr. Myers continues to move forward. That Ichi, it was so close. The right idea, just didn't quite drop on his head.
And it just looks like they're going to go back and try and set up to throw some utility just right here with Asian for show. Lined up in the door. It's just that set that is going to be thrown out. Fully set up to try and make this thing up the ramp. All they have is one hurdle of an 8 HP player to the left side. Oh, thankfully Snarf is going to have that one quickly. And you even know that somebody, it happens to be Electric, is already here in the back lines, Vincent. Bomb down, 3v3. But damage onto Asian for show. Damage onto Snarf. This becomes thinner than you realize.
Yeah, this is all up to Agent Faucheux. Needed to maybe win that duel, but only get some damage done. Now the Op can take a duel, again, held by Snarf, but another missed shot. It's misses on both directions, but Mace Rifle is good for all 3. That'll put NCSU right back in winning ways. They find their 3rd round off the back of Mace, who, I mean, again, we didn't get a lot of time to talk pre-show here, Marky, but Mace is the guy for NCSU that I think is the most important for you to have firing on all cylinders. This is a team that is, as a whole, like, strong in its core, but Mace is really important to that core to stay strong.
You know, in the game that we were watching, it was kind of a little bit daunting at times versus the Fisher squad on Anubis, but I think anecdotally, there are a couple of moments where throughout the entire series, I think Tristan started to pop off a little bit more. That's why I focus on this duo a lot, but Maize still popping up with individual plays. And we'll see if that continues. But it looks to be getting active through this Cheetah side. Solaris taking the speak and has 2 with the A4 right off the bat of this round. 1:25, it already a 2-man advantage.
Yeah, Michigan now starting to be forced to slow down a little bit And that lets NCSU set their own little plays up. That flash from Jaguar into lane really setting them up for success. A double where there's no return fire, there's no response as well. And NCSU, they continue to be active. A little loud about this. Oh, Solaris! How does he find that through the smoke? Over to the AK. It's Mr. Myers on the trade. And NCSU, they've got this round. It's just a question of how long our Kranich is going to take for that to be the end of this one. That is absurd.
And you really see that, honestly, it's a very seasoned battle layered between these two units. NCSU continuing to go for these mid-round plays. Michigan Maize had things completely nailed down in middle takes for the first 5 rounds that they got on their backs, but now we're showing their cracks elsewhere. Our Kranich is making this thing winnable through I don't know what means. Now headed to the A site with green grass in front of him. Vincent, it's 1v1 versus Electric.
Yeah, and Electric is so far away. A kit on his back.
Just looking puzzled
as well. And yeah, can't believe the position he's been put in. Our Kranich, I mean, about to creep through his own smoke at CT. No, that isn't even in CT. What a wild smoke to be sitting inside of. This is absurd. And I think Electric, understandably, a little bit concerned, but that second smoke, it's going to make it easy for our Kranich to clutch up all 4 as the 1-on-4 clutch goes through.
And you could call it for Snarf. You could so easily call it for Snafafu. But one baton, just hand it off to what next player? A player with an opportunity. It's our Kranich with a 1 versus 4 through thin air. I mean, that was particularly amazing. Just right off the rip. It's so hard to hit those shots bottom of the ramp like that and just absolutely smash them out at the beginning. This is going to be such a hard half to try and get back in now, even with the money and even with favorable fights here at the beginning of this round, but actually taking full advantage of this and not getting wiped off of the broken play. But now even the nade out of the hands. Lucky to be alive, Asian for show.
NCSU doing a good job of not letting that loss get to them in the next round. They come right back out swinging, and it's even further. They're swinging for the fences on this one. Mid-control not enough. The advantage not enough for them. They continue to push forward. They know Asian for show is pretty darn low. 4 health is all that he's got left, and Michigan, they're not out of this round, but they have lost just about everything with regard to mid-control, and they got to be careful about losing anything further as they get picked off one by one.
Active as an individual, Electric is now, and just smelling blood in the water, but Aouige on the other side has just wiped 1 more head off the board. Now possibly Michigan Maize can't pull off 2 back-to-back 1vx scenarios that are just preposterous. Was it a 1v4 or 1v3 for him just in the previous?
I think it was 1v4.
I believe so.
And 4 at the end. And it looked unwinnable then. It is unwinnable now. NCSU, like I was saying, I'm impressed that they get right back to business so quickly on that round. Put mid-control in the dumpster and a good protocol at mid, too.
I mean, I don't even think they took a timeout, right? I mean, just straight right back into the round. That's particularly impressive. I mean, I think that they've been putting in the effort, trying to grind out best-of-1 officials where you know the pressure's on and other means. But this time, even holding on the point isn't going to do enough. Back and forth, across the table we go. And now they're going to be going straight onto A, but straight onto the plate of Electric, who just takes 1 bite just out of A main. And getting help, it's Mr. Myers, who puts them all in a fire. It's NCSU, who are right back.
And it's 1 bit of missed utility for Michigan. They have all of mid-control. They overwhelm. Bodies hit the floor. 2 down. And it's a 3v5. Only for you to miss the key bit of utility, that CT smoke. You saw it up at the top on the ruins on A. And it lets Mr. Myers walk right into their face. Michigan had no idea that that could even be a possibility. They thought it should be smoked. And speaking of missed smokes, that's another one. A missed elbow smoke is not going to be the biggest of deals and not nearly as problematic as what Michigan were dealing with last round.
And it's a note I tried to touch on in the beginning of the game. All the pieces matter, especially on a map like Ancient there. It shows how razor thin the margin can be. particularly good positioning for Michigan Maize now, who are just breathing down the necks of this B defense, and Mr. Myers plugged out after the 4K, and now you've been drowned out of the corner. Suddenly, 7-5 half is going to be popping into your mind, but you just have to hold on. It's a bomb down, and honestly, probably, and they just get another kill in this time, Vincent. It's a 2v4, lock them away, throw away the key. It's a 7-5 for Michigan.
Should be. Tristan Electric, now just Tristan, who's going to be getting removed on the edge of that smoke. Bafu will be sending them to the 7th and 5 on the other side. I'd call that a half that had a little bit to be desired for NCSU, but not too shabby either. Michigan, though, they set the tone. They set the pace every single time. And as the T side, that'll happen. That's mostly what you can do as the T side. But I think it's so important on Ancient in particular for you to be able to do that as the CTs, and NCSU never really got the chance to.
Certainly, I think Michigan catching some big breaks in the turns of 1vx clutches going their way, big swing rounds, but they earned those, right? You can't exactly say that they floated in their direction. Now, just straight up in the middle, trying to see what is exactly the word here. Just a drive-by into the B site, and Snarf is going to be knocked out of the passenger seat. And our Kranich, you can go ahead and check out of the back. It's a B site that NCSU has on tap.
You're dumping them in the trunk. There's nobody left in there. Those Snafafu trying to make that statement. Known now are the all three of Michigan removed in quick succession by Tristan and Solaris. That is what NCSU needed. Doubled up on the pistol rounds. They win them both. And now on their opponent's map pick, that gives you some space to work.
And they just want to come into the second half confidently. I mean, kind of riffing off what I was saying is like a lot of those rounds where in a regular set of circumstances, this Ancient goes worse for Michigan. You don't convert some of those clutches. NCSU might be slightly up at the half. Regardless, I think that experience has tenured them. Look at how fast and furious they are coming out in the second half, particularly winning a pistol like that. Everything should be in their hands. Just for now, these fights in middle look to be a little bit awkward, and Solaris knows better.
Yeah, the good news is that NCSU have an open B site. There's nobody there for Michigan, and in fact, they're already at game ender. Mr. Myers is going to push his way through, and now a Molotov dropped in their face. It should be over from then on out. Poor Snarf just gets tracked down through the smoke as it goes from bad to worse. Michigan, another kill would be a real nice addition, but even that seems too far to ask for them.
Womp womp. Electric goes poking around. That was quick. I suppose 4 out as well is going to be nice. But everybody, I would say, on the side of the Wolfpack, really, really working out their job. Here, when you're putting yourself on a pedestal of, in my opinion, anecdotally, I remember the days where Ancient was just kind of flopping on the way of how we feel of Anubis now, where it was still a little bit offensive sided here. I think that, you know, you can still kind of hit the matches, that you're able to kind of flick before and get this thing lit really to a point where this offense can swallow the game, but it really takes a big punch.
It's haymakers left and right, back and forth. That's where Michigan going to try and toss maybe an uppercut into the mix, but where they are holding towards B and mid, it's A that NCSU will be looking to play with. They find nobody home and execute fully pushed out. But an HE into the smoke is Snarf and Snafafu a little bit of an avenue of approach. Bomb to be planted eventually, but Mr. Myers is oh so low. 2 HP is all that's left, and he gets tracked down eventually through smoke.
Yeah, they just jammed themselves right into the site, and they did not come out cleanly at the end. Michigan Maize, they take a deep breath into that second half, and I think that they are kind of playing on maybe some of the mental games. They know that even NCSU was winning particularly at the beginning of theirs. Now getting that bonus round is going to be particularly nice to set that foot forward and now see what NCSU has for the real first gun round.
An attack timeout called up to try and figure that out. Right, the call is fast towards A on the first, on the force buy, or rather the third ground there, and I think that I love that. It's one of my favorite calls for Ancient T side, but you don't get away with it. It is something that you need to think about. Is it can get away from you so fast. The momentum is heavy.
Certainly feeling it leaning one way some time ago. That is an elbow smoke of all time, I will say. A little bit deeper than I would like it, but
Yeah, probably.
take
Probably
it
not quite.
It's all good. CSU looks like, I mean, I do see that Maize is going to be plopped in front of that. However, looking like they're kind of swinging towards Michigan Maize, sort of middle of the half playbook. Leaning towards this B ramp, not particularly as aggressive as their foe. However, Michigan Maize know that they're waiting out their set of smokes that they particularly laid out to start. Still with every molly cashed in, besides on Azen for show.
That's an HE that could have done a lot more damage. Our Kranich able to adjust and get out of its area of effect just in time. And CSU taking time about this attack. Slow and steady approach to get themselves space, and our Kranich was playing a dangerous game for a long, long time there. Eventually goes down. And that's all that NCSU really need. Now, they can take that advantage and just exec on B.
Oh, this is a tight one, and Tristan surely knows there's got to be somebody waiting around, but it's just a haymaker thrown back. And oh, on 1 HP, they're just standing on their line, Vincent, and trying to step and put a throw up. Now here, just with the 2v4, I mean, look at the bank accounts. Michigan Maize would likely do everything that they would need to prop up, would likely be a stronger eco into the next with these two guns. But why not try it? It's Snarf, it's Nifafu, and they've just opened the door wide open.
And it's a double up playing together. Now knowledge on where both of these guys are at. HE dunked on Solaris, so this is even more to work with, but they got to be careful. They know somebody was long, but they don't know that they're tucked up in the corner, and Mace is good for his. Now Snifafu almost has to stick, doesn't even get off in time, or doesn't even get the spray when he gets off as NCSU. That advantage that they pick up, that opening duel that Electric wins on our Kranich, it's worth so much.
I gotta say that even flown into the direction of NCSU, naturally they're going to have a little bit wider of margins now that they're going to be on this T side, right? Money's certainly going to be kind of growing the way that they would like to. I think that I should have given more respect to where Michigan Maize were at financially, because look at the way they step into this. Fully being able to see where exactly they're going to be at down around into 18 if this one doesn't go the way they want it. Now, oh, they catch him at a timing, and they could be stealing 3 kills right here, and they do. Mace right around the corner, and he's down, and right here for it, it's found. Michigan Maize out of the hat have 9.
I mean, they get a little bit of something in their pocket that round. It's SMGs, a couple of upgraded pistols, but not even a full investment, and Michigan get away with a whole round? That's absurd. Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be happening. And it's these types of rounds that Michigan are winning, that you're looking back at this, and it's starting to become a very clear picture. The edges are filled in. They were gray. They were not visible, and now they are. Michigan, these particular rounds are so impactful, and if they win this map, it's going to be because of those.
Now NCSU trying to color outside the lines, a straight up an A rush, and Shifafu has got to be ready for it. Only 1, which is honestly good for the net that they have seen out of that AK so far. Bomb down, NCSU. Significant post plants right here could mean a whole large amount of profit right into the account. Oi's trying to just steadily take back this backhaul inch by inch. Asian for show as well, Vincent slowly, and that kill is found. But Solaris and Donut tells another tale.
It's the utility that should be the difference maker, but it's a little bit flubbed on the flashbang entry. There's still somebody towards the site, and it's Mace who's there that makes life very difficult.
Oh.
Molotov in hand, Mace gets another, and he's the it factor for this team. It's USP, but Snarf is out of time. He might even not even survive. He's got to get the heck out of Dodge. Should be okay now. Solaris goes down to the bomb. That is where you need the one guy who gets the AK to have impact, and Maize does.
I gotta say, every fan that's checking in to this round of 16, getting prize admission and then some, the last 2 rounds we've seen have just been insane. I mean, it's really, really getting to the peak here. We're going to be seeing this all throughout this round of 16. I know the Northwood game was particularly proven from them, as many have, but right here, NCSU, we were talking about just pushing up a little bit in terms of seeding, in terms of how we feel anecdotally about these individuals and how they play. I mean, you see the example from Snarf, from Snufafu, in round and round out. Snufafu around the corner now, gets his shine, and it's only one back-to-back for him.
Yeah, but the big weapon at the hand is over on B. It's sprinting towards A, but a smoke in the face of Snarf before he can get active onto the site, and so instead he plays contain, holding temple control, but only temporary, as the rest of the T's will not even be required to take that space. Trying to get back in here going to be a difficult plan to execute.
And the smoke ticks down. Electric is just so aware of what can slink through. Snarf with a striking frag back. Expected to just try and leave this one be. Keep the op. You've held on to it for what was probably one round we did not expect. Now 2 in a row. It's living a long life. Snarf with a 3K this round. Oh, is still not out of the house yet. Right around the corner. Right to their death. Seemingly, Snarf gets around and lives.
So important. Honestly, Maize, understanding that their economy matters too, but that's an op in their hands, one that they wouldn't have had otherwise, and I think they're going to be investing fully. Yeah, they saved enough. Actually, they had just one of those SMGs, and then it was eco outside of the op. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Even though NCSU get the victory, they get the lead now, which has been very difficult for them to overcome. It's Michigan that have had that for the majority of the series, but they have the op still.
And oh man, I think it was a point that ages that I brought up earlier, where we were comparing the kind of kill spread between NCSU and Michigan Maize, where I'm going, oh man, I think Snarf and Snufafu are, pulling a whole lot of work over for these boys. Arcranic with the great 1v3. The substitute is 11 and 13, doing their job to, honestly, pretty perfect capacity for what kind of margin you want to see come from this. And Snufafu, look at that start. Michigan Maize right back off the backboard, get a great start.
It's a meeting of the minds, a meeting of the it factor for both of these teams. Maize is there to hopefully stand tall, open up mid, gets his one, but Snufafu has been constantly a thorn in the side of NCSU. NC State just have so much trouble dealing with him, and it's no different in this mid hold. He gets a 2K, and Michigan, they get the advantage.
Needing to reset. Mid-round call, missing Maize and Solaris at the moment. And particularly still with the tools required. Only one smoke on Myers, however. But worse for wear, Wolfpack has been previously. And with a tease out right now, the decision will have to come through from Snarf whether to stay on the angle or not. Does. And does nail down Tristan and is just going to be greedy. This is Snarf we're talking about, but does have that not pay off. A tag that's close but doesn't actually connect. Mollied off into the back hall has made room for Michigan Maize to just leak in through CT. A flash up, a swinging behind triple. Snufafu is going to get the job done with Asian for show. And we just go right back to a tied game, Vincent. 10-all.
Yeah, this is a tight one and a difficult one for Michigan right now, but they can rely on Snufafu and Snarf at the moment to deliver every single time. And if I'm in CSU, I'm probably thinking, how can I get onto a site where neither of those guys are defending it? How do I avoid what those guys are putting together? Because maneuverability has been a big positive for Snufafu. Starts out in mid, gets a third kill of the round inside of A site, and an eco that NCSU kind of have to go for. It feels bad when the score just gets tied up to give away the lead that you fought so valiantly to pick up, but it's just not worth it to allow yourselves to lose track of this game. Get yourself an eco and get right back on the horse next round. That's what they're going to do. With an op money as well in Mr. Meyer's pocket. They wanted it.
We'll see exactly where the money goes. No scope to be within the arms right now. However, with how liquid their T side has been, I think at the beginning of this half, trying to buy that op up, whether I think it was Michigan Maize when they were actually on their T side. I don't really think that we saw the big green toted too much. Now it's come down to all these fights. Snufafu, this time looking towards mid with the rifle. May just get another on the spam. So low is Solaris, down to 46. And going back for more.
Move back the other way is one that Snufafu will pay with for his life.
Thank goodness.
Mace just watching, waiting, and a good move. Like I said, meeting of the minds was the words I used before. It's a duel of the fates there in mid for Michigan and for NCSU. But a trade that, once again, it favors Michigan. You look at the damage that's done. Electric holding and waiting while the rest of his team preps for this A attack. They've got to deal with Snarf, who's been mobile as ever. Takes a shot, moves away. He's now alone on A.
Now it's obvious, but look at the movement back by NCSU, having doubled down on their suspicions back towards the A site where Donut is going to be particularly wide for the moment. However, not going to be too worried about it. It's going to be an entire line that's going to be drawn off the map by Mace with the AWP, or Kranich, on a great timing. Now has it back turned and just going to be burned as Tristan 2v2 with the low HP Mace. To be closest to take the fight between these two angles, knocked and nailed to the board is Uige, and around the corner Mace will go. We were waiting for Mace play, Vincent, where there it is, just at the tallest of the hour.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. When you talk about, like, the star player or the statistical best player for NCSU, it's Mace, for me, every time, is the star. Because when they're winning rounds, he is crucial in getting those and winning them out. That's another one of them where he picks up a triple kill. We've seen so many, so often, and he does it again there.
I mean, our Kranich now just trying to hold down this pressure. Electric with a great op frag. Oh, our Kranich staying alive, even having the backup. This is not supposed to go like this. NCSU are hitting the panic button. It is B site that's going to be stolen from them. All onto Mace and then wiped off of the board. Solaris 1v4 living the current nightmare.
I'm hitting the panic button. It needs to be panic time. Battle stations, everyone, because Michigan are looking at 12, likely now guaranteed, as they get that 12-11 score line. An absurd victory for our Kranich, who is jumping, moving, pistols out, not even prepared for all of the bodies on the other side of B long, man. That is ridiculous.
Oh, man. I was about to say, man, Snufafu playing like Michael Jordan right now. Well, there's your Scottie Pippen play, right around the board. The teammates got to make that difference, too. It's unbelievable how that... It's crazy. The jumping MP9 as well. I mean, what?
Look at where it's left in CSU. I mean, money is busted. They just don't have anything really to work with. Even, it'd be one thing if it was SMG's pistol armor plus utility, but even that is lacking. There's just not a lot to work with. 2 smokes, a molly, and a flurry of flashbangs is all they have for this attack. It's got to be A with the tools at their disposal, and guess who is waiting in the wings?
Snarf once again. And this is the hurdle to try and pass over. What is this timing?
Hold on.
That game ender, crucial to find that kill. And I think all the Michigan fans at home just let out a big burst right here. They got to keep it inside right here for one more round. But I think it is time to start celebrating over there in Ann Arbor, because you have just put a 1-map lead over NCSU. The Wolfpack has been separated again onto Vertigo, where they should be able to recuperate in the den. Michigan Maize, though, they put the stamp on a crazy ancient game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a story of the big moments, the big plays from Michigan that overwhelmed, that just stomped out NCSU's chances at victory on Ancient. It was the 1v4, it was the eco win, like, so many times they were down, should have been out probably. You see our Kranich pick up the pace on an SMG as well. When they were down, they were never out, and that's why Michigan come away successful.
I mean, it's kind of poetic that it's our Kranich, right? Sort of towards that B side where he's popping off those shots in the 1 versus 4 earlier. And that's why you highlight kind of around this nest. But it goes back to what we were talking about in the game. I mean, I gotta say that in that first half, it was really easy for me to go and say that NCSU, in maybe some normal circumstances, putting the cap on rounds they were supposed to, right? They would be having a lead like that, but not with the form that we saw this Michigan CT side in. I mean, the Withan to go for, plays like that at the beginning of the rounds where it takes an experienced team on their map to say, where are they not going to be expecting this harebrained play to come from? And I say that as if there's a little disrespect behind it, but I mean, it's just taking advantage of a moment that they found and they smashed it.
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about those big moments as well, it's about the big factors, the big players, and Stufafu like had that in spades. Our Kranich we just got done talking about, and unfortunately, I think that's actually a bit of a wider conversation about the things that are missing from this NCSU team. I saw it last semester, and I'm seeing it again here, where they have a really strong core, and as a team, I think they're really good. And we saw that where they're winning 2 pistols, right? They're finding some difficult round wins of their own. Not something as crazy as those clutches, but all of that leads me to the point where they maybe don't have somebody who can be like what Sinfafu was being on the server, not consistently. So that's something maybe that was missing in this one. We'll have to see. Vertigo is coming up next, and the good news is it was really close on Ancient, and that wasn't NCSU's map pick. So the Wolfpack got to come back stronger as we head to Vertigo right after this break. baby. We got a second map coming up in here. Marky, the first map going the distance, but a tight victory for Michigan Maize. What do you think it was that pushed them over the edge?
I gotta say, it's easy to kind of point to their individual playmaking, but particularly, I think when the kind of pressure was on, I think that when you least expected them to kind of pop up with a game-changing play, it's through a moment that was so quiet, kind of in that last round where they pierced through on the ramp, find 2 kills that they weren't even expecting to find, right? I kind of say this like, they were planning to make that play, right? We're saying if they get that flash out, maybe, Michigan, rather NCSU turns around and sees what's going on. However, there was a lot of rounds in the first half that were razor thin in terms of margins, and say, I think that where you saw NCSU pick it up, I think that they were stayed in for longer than we expected to on Michigan Maize's pick. I think that 13-11 was really encouraging. Now on to theirs. This could be season to go all 3 with how this thing has gone so far. Solaris takes out Asian for show, and with NCSU taking 2 pistols, the pressure is on to keep that record clean.
Yeah, but Michigan stepping in and finding some space to work with that may change that whole thing up. Snafafu grabs 1 from Jen, and he's got a lot of backup. Arkranic swings as well. It's sort of a 3-man wrecking crew, as it's so many angles to look at. Nobody ever committing into this fight, and Electric is potentially about to get knifed as NCSU.
No. Oh.
Okay, nice shot, Electric. Snafafu getting a little silly with it on round number 1, and they'll finally break that curse and find a pistol round win.
I guess that's what it takes to maybe kind of dismantle your opponent's map pick. However, I didn't go according to plan for NCSU, so weirdly, we'll see if Michigan Maize end up going 2 for 2 and losing the map after that, which would be funny if it happened twice. We would have, 2 dimes, or whatever they say. Mac 10's out, Vinny. It's like we're right back to Ancient with the 5 MP9s. Oh, NACS. We know we're here.
Yep. We know it. We love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did. Feels bad. And ACS, though, thriving currently in the RMRs, so all good. No problem.
Yeah, it's actually quite fun. I stayed up last night to watch that wildcard series. Just remembering the pains we had of only Cole going through last time just brings a smile to my face every time.
Yeah, still got lots of opportunities too, as well, which is nice.
Yes.
Nice to see. But opportunities abound here in collegiate as well, where in CSU it's a gun around, but there are some concessions in this one, right? SMGs on a couple, just to get the the bare minimum utility out. That's great timing on the molly, but unfortunately for Maize, it's a great job for Michigan, of Uij specifically, to just get in their face, to make it so that isn't easy, and that's going to be a trade.
Electric, couple milliseconds late with the spam. Up at Guardian, and right in their faces are going to dispatch of Tristan. Solaris just barreling through that smoke. Is he going to get taken down? This is not the way the Wolfpack is supposed to separate, but they do. Pretty low on some of these players. However, look at all the tools at disposal. Smoking out CT close. Guardian is on lock. I would doubt that Electric and Mr. Myers actually go for this. Mr. Myers does, and pays for it brutally.
Yeah, Electric should be walking away, but is just hoping to stick around for an exit or two. This is a little bit too long to be staying tuned, and he'll be removed with quick succession. That's a really nicely drawn up round from Michigan. It's the pistol round, run it back, but they have weapons, and they can pick up the pace a lot because they have some utility to make it a little more punchy, to activate towards B. NCSU just caught off guard in entirety. I think that we've already seen a little bit of an opening. That's early damage that Michigan has done to the mental as well. NCSU now going to be much more concerned about the threat of this mid play that Michigan have in their back pocket.
Got 4 stacked up here. Mac 10s will go poking around. Mac 10 singular. Snifafu, who else? To lead from the front. and led by example on that first map the entire time. At least one nailed down here, but Solaris should likely see a little bit more success off of that. However, they know about Asian Fasho's positioning, and they are just going to chase him down. So, leaking into the B site here quietly, knowing that at all the extremities, there is going to be contention, but look at how far Snarf has gotten. Gonna be watching this right around the corner and trying to just boost up. That's a hell of a timing. That is found, and so is the head off of Snarf.
This is really complicated. That'll help out a lot, though. Our Kranich burns one alive, and Uish gets his one, but our Kranich is now alone. HP low for Electric, and Mr. Myers does have armor, so maybe it could be enough. No, it's not even close. Our Kranich swings, it's perfect timing, and neither have their weapons hot or really ready to take a fight.
I mean, our Kranich is 8-0, yet to go down. Same with Michigan Maize, riding on that spell to a perfect 4-0 right at the start of this. I would say that back on Ancient, you would look forward to this second map, thinking that NCSU would have lost out of the first, you know, acknowledging how close it was. The upset potential would be way better here for NCSU. Rather, it's coming back the other direction. But right now, it's coming right up the ramp, right into NCSU's face. And this has got to be everything you need to try and lock in a win here. Keep your foot on the gas as an individual. Win as an individual. These are experienced players, Vincent. At instance, Vertigo is an aim map. And that's why it does get criticized a little bit. Michigan Maize are taking over.
Dude, it might be an aim map. This isn't about aim at all. Michigan doing a great job with their aim, but they've actually played called an incredible T side thus far. Marky, the whole of those first 3 or 4 rounds and the mid plays that were coming left, right, and center, that was all teeing up that B hit. Finally, in CSU, they take space at B. That's kind of the two options. Either stack up mid or take space on the extremities. And they try to take space, run right into Michigan Maize's whole plan. That is great game setup and delivery for Michigan.
Oh, they're Electric with a scout getting active. Snifafu, big name to rip out early. I think all impressive knowing that the last Vertigo official for Michigan Maize was on April 6th. Back in the spring semester, so been some time. However, they look seasoned. Our Kranich has just got another headshot. And look at the space. Flicking over to just try and deal with Electric. The scout that was just the thorn in the side started this one. Ooh, flicking over. Has the tag onto our Kranich, who now is just closest to taking his first death. Our Kranich around the corner removes Maize, but still on his tail. Our Kranich finally falls.
Yeah, and that, I mean, not just one player, but a big fight to win, because that alleviates a lot of the pressure that was being applied. Snarf, though, playing hard to get around the default box in a jump spot that he looked so comfortable with before. It looks like Luigi is going to have the clutch in the car for this one to stay flawless for Michigan. Has the bomb on his back, spotted out, and now can sprint for the hills, get the heck out of Dodge, and head to B.
Get comfortable, set up for the party ahead. It's just gotta be the date with Tristan, though. A little bit intimate if you ask me, Vincent, but that's how Weege likes it when we didn't even expect this member to hop inside of the club tonight. The substitute, 5-1, had particularly an impressive performance out on Ancient. Did their job, was a part of the cog as well as you could. Tristan down to 1 HP, however. AK is quite level and has all the bevel to get it done. It is the first round that they find Vincent, and NCSU is on the board.
It's one of these rounds that we talked about for Michigan on map 1 that were pretty consistently going their way. Now it's NCSU that win the clutch, that win a round that wasn't like a full half buy, but there was not perfect guns in there. They had a little bit of scouts and SMGs to work with. So all of that leading to a victory is an encouraging sign. But things I've just thought of, Michigan, they get to pick what side they start. They've chosen to pick T side, and they've shown that they have a real clear game plan set to go, but Tristan is on B site. His one is there, still flashes to play delay, but that isn't going to stop Michigan. They continue to scale forward, and they throw a smoke up in the face of Maize, though it's not going to ward him off from Guardian. It will not allow any chance at a bomb denial, though.
Yeah, not a tool in the belt here to deny space, not an incendiary in HG to get a little bit of bounce damage. In fact, that's actually thrown right in his face. And now waiting down these timings on the flank, on the other side of the box. Walked right in that crosshair, and they actually find it. It's 2 for Mr. Myers, and he whips out a third. The A4 is heard, and it's all the way down. Mr. Myers is in his neighborhood, and NCSU are moving in.
That's a good example of Michigan. Right place, but the execution just off. Snarf had him for free. Missed the shot, unfortunately, and that's the AK just not working out for him. NCSU, Mr. Myers in particular, take advantage, and once that one area falls, it's so quick that NCSU get back into place. I mean, Snarf couldn't even communicate fast enough to his teammates to be made aware of the fact that that flank was coming. Mr. Myers had already been there to kill them one by one. It's a tack timeout, funny enough, for the Wolfpack, despite winning that round. Michigan, their money's starting to get broken. Not quite yet. There's still some cash flow, but it's still starting to get a little bit less.
Drip drips down, huh, Vincent? I mean, eventually you'll be able to fully charge that at the end. Some things never change, though. And Fafu, as an individual, going crazy. 9 and 4. Our Kranich, the man that had the 1v4 first half of Ancient. Not killed until a couple rounds ago. Snarf particularly dispatched at the start of this, and the A4s are trying to get all over them. After the frags that Mr. Myers put up just in the last round, it's going to have to be Electric to put up more than one, though I think Michigan Maize has called a bit of a timeout right now, waiting for other scenes to just show, and right here it's an elbow from A, but no kill.
Would have really liked to have this one. I was starting to get, have some questions about Michigan, kind of tossing all of their eggs in this basket of a B-site hit once again, but we can see that it was all about just kind of pressuring, seeing if they could get the right look, and then holding and waiting. Once they get that contact, unfortunately for them, it still means that there's a lot of A-side control, and so they have to go towards B. From double box on the site, from the default now, Mace goes back. It's a retreat in one way, but a step forward in the other. Ewiz trades out. Now Electric has to work around the smoke that he's dropped at default. Asian Show, unfortunately, getting naded, or nading his teammate, pardon me. It leaves our Kranich solo.
Some space to maneuver. Bomb just going to be within the desired distance as well. 30 seconds rounding this corner. It's spot onto the first player. Can't escape the second peek by Electric. And that's a third for NCSU. I gotta say, the weight is shifting to the defense at the moment. Look at the bank accounts and how full they are at Michigan Maize on particular sides, but just for the moment.
Yeah, Weish and Stefafu having the lion's share of the cash to splash around, but actually it looks like they should have enough, yeah. Able to toss that left and right, get the guns out. So this fast B hit, they've hit it now 3 times. And I think it's finally time to see if they can reach deep into the pool and see if they can find something different in the strat book. And it will be something a little bit different, a slower maneuver, more of a default, something that you would tend to expect to see more often than not on Vertigo. We've been seeing non-stop action, and that's a rarity.
Who knows how many more of these we are going to get with Train being added in tonight. Crazy scenes happening across the board here, but honestly, I'm focusing on the now. I think that even in this particular Vertigo game, we're going to miss it when we think on to situations like this, but hopefully it continues to be as fruitful here towards the A site. Oh, and now going audible, our Kranich is going to be letting his presence known to the back lines, and what a stab to the head from Solaris, but it's just shoved back. Asian for show, gotta stand up to just solo the lead back towards Michigan, get all of the momentum into their court. Oh, and fading through the smoke, going to have the back turned on Electric and Burns, and now Mr. Myers around the corner, had a 4K a couple rounds ago to vote him on the poster, and he can put another one right on the wall. It's NCSU who will not fall through their individuals. It's 4, just like that.
Well, and this is where we were seeing the difference between Michigan and NC State. They had so many moments where Michigan's individuals bailed them out, made it so possible for them to win rounds that shouldn't have been winnable, and NCSU finding that they can do that too, whether it be Mr. Myers or Tristan in this game. It's been them all the way, nearly a tied scoreline, and it's likely to be that. No, not even a eco. 3 guns out, and they're going to pick up the pace again. Fast towards A. Missed shot by Electric, who is the first and the fray from side hall, but oh my goodness, the damage is so strong. HEs, Molotovs, and everything else dropped to the feet of Michigan, and now look at how much they are teed up. These A4s can really eat up when you have lack of HP.
Yeah, teed up, and so far I have seen 2 clean swings on the green. I mean, just perfect that they get him down, and now we're able to spar the way they want. I mean, carrying these bodies out in caskets as 5, because nobody has fallen right until the end. Snafafu, he comes to his own. It is 5-5, and Vertigo is as entertaining as we thought it would be right here towards the end of the first half. We'll see who has that leg to stand on strongest. Oh man, look at how NCSU has just scraped this one back. 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah, Michigan seemed to kind of only have one like current idea, and that's fast, right? They have one pace of play that they're looking to play for, and when that doesn't work out, they're a little bit lost. It's another fast move, this time towards mid. They've kind of gone back to B, back to A, and now it's back to what worked for them on the pistol round and the follow-ups. Electric, poor guy, gets inked, and now can't really have too much to say about this mid attack.
Trying to pop out and get these kills. Solaris does do well onto the first, however, knowing that there's wrinkles in this now. Because of the placements on top of the smokes, they're still going to be just keeping their eyes on it. A flash out and just going to be managing one. Oh, a swing and not even the shot fired. Thank goodness Mr. Myers is still here. Still toting this M4 with no fear. But look at this. To be walked upon in CT, actually that crawl does not happen. Snafafu and Asian Fasho find themselves in a unique spot. But they don't know which way the wind blows.
They got to get the bomb. That's the big problem, is that Mr. Myers, who's been incredible in the lurks, just gets so much space with that. Dropping the bomb, no way to maneuver back onto A. Instead, they got to fight forward. And Asian Fasho going to be up elevated. It's a great angle for Mason. Oh, it should have been! What a jump spot! Snafafu gets his. He trades out the one more. Mr. Myers goes down, and it's a quick shot that looked almost successful. He'll go back for more. That confidence from this guy is crazy. But NCSU, they'll be able to clutch it up. It's another 1v1 for Tristan.
And just enough here to put in all of the money they needed. Let's say a round like that comes up particularly a little bit more throughout for NCSU. They're coming into this with no money, with all of the weight in their pockets to try and get this to a 7-5 half. A little bit poetic, don't you think? Coming off of where we found the end of Ancient, here to just lean towards the side of Michigan Maize. Michigan, they have felt strategically the daunting of, you know, maybe their one set pace being kind of thrown back to them, but they're back towards A, back from mid, and they're finding an opening kill onto Electric, a huge name ripped out of this defense to start.
Yeah, he's been electrifying, especially those opening duels. That's where, you know, you want your AWP to be having success, and no longer going to have that opportunity in this round. It's a slow crawl, not one that we've seen often from Michigan to head back out towards A. And I like this. I like the swap up. They have map control this time. Double up, though, and it's double for Snafafu. Make it 3. This guy is a menace, and the A site is exactly where he makes his best work done. Asian Fasho cuts off the rotate, and we're all tied up, knotted at the half.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's only the second half that we're going into, but just on the crown of that, I think it's the prestige of the trick right there from Snafafu. This is even better than he looked on Ancient right now. Still on the court like nothing has changed. 17 frags, almost 170 ADR. It is going to be hard to fret with this now in a pistol round that Michigan Maize trying to stare down this 2-0. We know that NCSU came into Ancient taking them both. Michigan Maize could stare that down, and we could still try and look to hold that storyline, but these things come particular, these things come parallel, like we say. However, just like the end of that half, Michigan Maize shattered our expectations once.
That they did. I think that for me, that half of Counter-Strike was about a strong game plan at the beginning. One that in CSU, you don't have a lot of time in Counter-Strike 2 to find the right solution for, but they do. And Michigan didn't have a plan B or a plan C. They eventually got there with that slower round at the end. That said, now we got to see NCSU. And this is where there's a lot of onus on me as the team that picks this map. At the NCSU, I expect them to have a strong T side.
Snarf going to be taking out Maize early. NCSU's time to shine on the offense, where Michigan Maize, it's now to see how practiced they truly are on Vertigo. Starting off with 5 in a row and just netting the last round back. We'll see how strong they actually will look. Arkranic with a couple of shots up, Vincent, but they duck in and out, and they do find that mole over towards CT. So we'll see if they make this B site defender pay the toll. Still waiting for their timing as Mr. Myers nets another frag.
Crazy, because the B site was open, but they go A anyway and overwhelmed with bodies. Eventually down and out almost. There's Michigan. Fafu going to try and make his way back in here. NCSU, this is a little bit of a scary post plant. They're all very isolated, and so that can happen. Sufafu chops up a first opener in the duel, but now has a lot to contend with. Clears out another angle, another isolated 1v1, but time is not on his side. He may have a kit, but this is just a lot to ask, and he holds, he sticks, it won't be allowed. Electric stops him in his tracks.
I mean, Snafafu in this game is quite literally the Legend of Baltimore. I mean, Omar is coming when you see this guy. 19 kills, just like that, is as scary to earn the respect right there. But the Legend isn't enough, right? Through manpower, they get that pistol round on the board. It's 4 MAC-10s. You flip it all the way back to Ancient. That's what it looked like with the 5 MP9s when they get that done. But now they want to try and lean on that same ingredient that Michigan had on the beginning of their half to take a damning start.
Don't think I'm a big fan of this hero MP9 for Snafafu. Everybody else is saving. Everybody else keeping their money very strong. Asia for Show has invested a little bit more for this 5.7, but it is going to be in the right spot. Snafafu at danger, but he's not quite looking the right direction. Expects him over the top of the danger wood. Instead, it's just the committed swing, and it is quick moves and victories at B.
Dude, a hero MP9? Does bro think he's Calamity? What is Snarf up to?
He's cooking. Hold on.
Executed. Tristan and his body gonna be thrown off the map as well. No evidence, no witnesses, just the evidence to fall beside it. 1 CT body.
I think if this was like a Hitman map, that would have been so perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Like,
they're not gonna find it.
That probably is a Hitman. Wasn't there a Hitman map like on the top of a building? It wasn't a construction site, but it was one of the more recent ones.
A very great shout for a series that was amazing, I think, in concept. Snarf? Oh, what is this? Knocking on the door and ripping off heads. That's going to be 2 at the start of B. I think it's just crazy. He drops right into their lap and comes out that successfully. Clearly, he was just going to be naming the Hitman right to his brand, Vincent. I mean, that is rude.
I mean, to be honest with you, dropping on him a little bit more ridiculous, but I'm down.
Not really the Hitman style, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more Assassin's Creed. Either way, Ancient Foe Show getting up in the mix with the MP9 as well. And difficult scenes for NCSU as Arkranic stops the gap that was opening up and Electric goes down. Michigan, you know what's crazy about that move is so aggressive, sure, but it's got 2 prongs to it, you know, upper and lower. Snafafu had the backup there. And so that's why it works out so well. Like Snarf and Snafafu, they're both up in your face. You can't shoot them both when one of them's up on the rafter there and the other's in your face down low. Can't aim at both.
And CSU call timeout. And you were talking about unbelievable scenes. They seemingly went back for some reshoots, Vincent. have some money to try and get this thing back up. I think, yeah, it's Mr. Myers who's going to have to swallow a tough pill. I don't think anybody's going to be kind of too upset about ending up with a Tech 9 on Vertigo. You can really make a difference with all 500 out of those bucks. We'll see how they exactly lean into it. It's one round that makes a very, very big difference, but Michigan Maize get this one off cleanly. They will have the first initial investment to a solid start to the CT side.
Yeah, but key that it's a big if they don't win it. They're right back where they started in more ways than one. Well, an elevated position for Arkranic that I was actually a big fan of, but he's dropped down, and it's not just that he's down, it's the audio cue that Solaris has most certainly been hearing. They're going to keep going, creeping in, 3 strong, clearing together. It's a TK, but the entirety of the T side removed from middle, and there's nobody else there, but it's a move back towards A initially that opens the avenue for NCSU on B.
Just right around this, on the corner of Jen, plays the angle to perfection. Just precise through that gap. And now movement comes through. It's a smoke that's put down with enough of a tunnel to make it through CT. And now an audible cue to run back through the smoke. It allows a poke from Snarf up top, who gets that frag back. All onto the shoulders, all with the pressure to the substitute. Awee's going to give this one an attempt with the flank that is currently being cooked up.
Yeah, he's got a kit.
At least it looks.
Got a kit. He's going to come through CT. There's so much time now that's created gaps in the defense for NCSU. They could be anywhere. He's going to get through, unspotted, unseen, and double up, both towards danger side, but in the open is just unexpected for Aweej, and Maize on the off angle. Connects for the shot. It's NCSU. It's exactly what we were talking about. The potential for that round is where Michigan Maize, if they lose that, they might be in some economic ruination. Doing better than I thought, but NCSU win out, and they're the ones that come out victorious after the first set of gun rounds.
And not reaching that far in their bag, being able to particularly manipulate how much they're going to be able to invest in this one and have output into 18. What, a couple of shotguns here and an MP9 on Asian for show. Definitely one that is a little bit unique. However, towards danger, they have the right idea. A couple of players down here. To now go for it, and they get both of the kills. Right now, NCSU has to calm down. Clear comms. Guys, we have to accelerate towards A. Our gaps have been found. We need to try and wipe this off the board now.
Yeah, but it's easier said than done. This is a quick return of the defense towards this bomb site, and Michigan, they aren't going to be there in time, but that's a lot of damage. The Solaris is now taken through the smoke. Trying to get this bomb down is a difficult one to do, particularly when there's bodies here. An elevator can tag in, tag out, and all 3 go down in the space of a moment, and that notice not enough to stop the CT side. 8-9 now. Tight game is going both directions, and look at the problems, Marky. NCSU were at the top just a moment ago, but now they're right back down, and they don't have as much money as they would have hoped.
Oh, Vincent, if this is the round that Michigan rides all the way to victory, we're going to be coming back and saying that round 17 was... It doesn't even take an expert to tell you it was completely a linchpin. I mean, insane odds to come up and rip that out through plays that they cook up that weren't too crazy, right? Just had to be patient there with the drop into B. And they did it to perfection. Now NCSU still waiting with what is, I was about to say, with a half buy. This is completely a force onto the board at the moment. They're not going to have $1 in the bank accounts after this. They're on a T side with wiggle room. However, I mean, I said it before, the thinnest of margins all the way at the moment.
Yeah, there's not been margin for error this series, and that continues to be true. This one might be one of those errors that could bite NCSU in the back if they don't end up winning, but look at the space that they have. Side hall still occupied by the defense, Weege in that location, but there is utility for them to get this A-bomb site. And if they can get up in the face of this CT side, if they could win one of these duels, for example, that could do it. Oh, it's unfortunate. It's a TK into Aweege's AK, and one more towards mid. Is it going to be enough to dissuade this? That, though, might change the game. Might change the way that we're drawing this up, Marky.
A big decision here. Stavafu tracking down this player and does have them dead to rights. Mr. Myers, telegraphed, obvious, knowing where this one is going to be fought. Mac 10, it just has to be taught to be confident. Back to a tied game. NCSU, they must be hearing the alarms now. It's time to wake up.
Yeah, every alarm possible. The fire alarm has been pulled. There's a tornado happening outside. It's very loud, I would imagine, in the NCSU camp right now. Because
it's hard to play CS in that.
I would think so. I would think so, but it's important to listen to those alarms and when they go off, because NCSU onto an eco here. They have to play for this eco. There's no question about it. Another force would be devastating and would be maybe too much to ask of them. It does allow Michigan, tentatively, to have a lead into this next round. Though, you always got Mr. Myers on a Tech 9. And this guy, I mean, he's been at the forefront the whole damn time on Vertigo.
Just patiently for it. But they were, like you said, sort of ignoring the symptoms that came their way, which was the illness that honestly killed their dreams at the end of Ancient, where a very spontaneous play by Michigan Maize made the difference. Now here with Snafafu's position up into quad. This, at this point, has all the makings of shooting fish in a barrel. I gotta say, they're gonna be, without a shout, Asian Fasho. Oh, he does not have a flash in the pocket, but within shouting distance is important. It's all about to go down, Vinny.
Yeah, they don't have the molly. That's the key. Clear this out, but a little coordinated jumping right there. There's the flashbang. It comes from mid. It's overwhelming.
Wait,
bodies are going down, hitting the floor. Kranich stands tall. That's key. Has to stay alive there. Call Snarf in for backup, but the bomb down. That's good to see. And Electric has an AK.
And in a 2v2, this stance is where NCSU needs to swing round the way that Michigan Maize have caught it so many times. And there it is! NCSU on Glocks march their way into B and just sullenly take down Snafafu. They knock on your star's door, they knock on your strongest sight, and they take it down and say goodnight, all with the $200 pistols.
One flashbang, that could have been the difference, to be honest, for Michigan. If there was a flash there to send them in to those fights, I think we're talking about a different outcome, but despite our Kranich doing some heavy lifting, it's still NCSU winning a round they had no business being in. So instead of 10-9 in the favor of Michigan, it's the opposite. And it's every time we've talked about NCSU, it's the opposite of Ancient, where the big moments, that's where they're coming alive.
It's Mace that initial contact up towards this headshot position. A bit of an exchange here that his molly comes out to force this player off, but also forces the smoke out to side hall. It's the little things. Trying to keep track of where the thinning of this herd could be. Seeing the nade all the way out. NCSU haven't particularly stabbed in to any margin, but now they might. Solaris draws eyes here with the molly that could particularly take two crosshairs if they both look. Snarf makes the right decision and goes to support B.
Drops a little bit of utility in the way, but fortunately, Snafafu goes down. In the meantime, Tristan working his way around the smoke is good for his, and Snarf's still inside of it. It's a scary moment. Snarf has to find the right time to pop out here, but in the meantime, Luigi goes down. And I don't know that Michigan have the utility, really the bodies to go for this. They need to walk away because they need to have something for next round. And that's the call. That's the right one. Get out with what you've got.
That's just so well done. In a round where you really are kind of erasing the last 45 seconds of your default, where it's Solaris that's finally making the first move at a minute 10, that really drops a lot of utility, similar to the start that you found with Mace taking contact on A. Particularly paranoid Michigan Maize are to just seeing this contact drop in your util. It's how you play the game. but you have to not be fooled. Right out here, when the layers are showing, Vincent, it's coming to the most complicated of sits, and honestly, the economy is too, kind of all over the place on Michigan's side.
And yeah, they're laying out a spawn, making the decision how they want to chop it up, and Krennic and Snarf have extra money, but everybody else is fully invested into this. That just shouldn't be possible. Solaris gets dinked up with an MP9, and our Krennic takes the line. AK upgrade for the SMG, and now a lot of space lost on the middle area for NCSU. Is this going to be an immediate move, a snap towards another location? No. NCSU elect to wait, elect to look and be patient to see if NCSU or if Michigan are going to push that advantage any further.
Back towards B. Has become Old Faithful a couple of times in these late situations. And there's that headshot on Mr. Myers to Snarf, making it a 4v4 across the board, dragging Snafafu on to this page. But now just flipping it all the way towards A. Godspeed onto these 5-7s who really need to go up and above, because currently committed is the only part of their job that they knew they signed up for. Asian Fasho can just try and stretch this round out and save Michigan with one huge kill. But as the time ticks down, this becomes all that much more likely.
Well, there it is. Maize takes the fight, and he wins it in easy mode. Not even looking is Uige. Krennic solo now here at A, calling in backup, but backup doesn't arrive in time, and it's in fact our Krennic to go down to his teammate before Mr. Myers stalls them out. 12 for the Wolfpack, and Michigan are looking unlikely to stop them here.
Wow. I gotta say that it's super impressive all across the board, but especially from Mr. Myers, and how as an individual he has particularly been so self-sufficient in a lot of these rounds, being in the pack, outside of the pack. You need an individual to lean on just like that, like Snafafu, to make big plays, like Gorkranik. It's easy to point to the ones that are high in the scoreboard, but we know what it's taken to get here. Through big kills just like that. Tristan at the beginning of this round, and Mr. Myers, the man that we were just talking about, had just gotten on the board, and you just saw another fight taking place towards A. NCSU just collected 2 kills and a lot of information here at the start of round 22.
Now they have a really easy maneuver to make. Group up, hit a site. There's no question of what the right play is. It could be A, it could be B. They just got to do it together, and that's what they're doing. Grouping up to the B bomb site is what NCSU have dialed up for the final round, or what could be with this advantage, probably should be. That said, Krennic, the only one who's anywhere close. He's been so impactful before. It's not quite that he's made it his way through. It's a kill with the op. Track through, bomb goes down, paid with their life as Tristan go, but NCSU, they have everything set to them.
Oh, that's a big nade, and they're going to be looking at this, but in spades, and they do find the head. It's Weege to try and get this done. The 5-7s are out in mobile, but Solaris is going to put down the last frag on Vertigo. NCSU are back. The Wolfpack, they have forced the third. It's on to Anubis, where Vincent, I gotta say, Michigan Maize rough around the edges tonight, but shooting hard. I gotta say, this is gonna be anybody's Anubis.
Yeah, it feels like it's up in the air. It's all possible, particularly when you talk about like the big things with regard to map 1 versus map 2, right? It was all about Michigan and their clutch ability, the big moments for them on map number 1. And then it was NCSU in the same boat. Their clutches. Tristan had 9 kills, but 2 1v1 clutches in that game. That's talking about, getting the kills when it matters, being the guy when you need to be. And that's what he was doing. Mr. Myers, you said it yourself with regard to being in the pack or out of the pack. He was impressing me out of the pack on the CT side. He was so mobile, always taking space and making sure to punish where Michigan were constantly being aggressive. That means they aren't running their typical default. And Mr. Myers made sure that was never something that they got away with for free. There was always something that was being taken on the other side of that, which is why, he's certainly like the MVP of map number 2 for NCSU.
Whew. And a lot of that to kind of break down, but even more on her plate with, honestly, this third course that I gotta say, I have the appetite, excuse me, for now. I think that this one looks so appealing for a number of reasons to say that, sometimes you kind of lean into an Anubis where one side's offense is just executing at insanely high levels here. It's like we have like a UFC match like that is going to the 5th round. It's so close in this, and I gotta say, there's a lot riding on this knife round right now. There really is, because we know where Anubis kind of sits for us anecdotally, Vincent. But how are you feeling about it going into the half?
I'm feeling like I indeed have a good appetite. We eating good tonight. We'll talk more about it when we come back. Anubis, right after this. Marky, it's a map 3 that is required, and I didn't necessarily mention it at the top of this show, but I expected to be here. I thought we would see a third map. It felt required from the beginning because Michigan, they've been so close to this NCSU team all the way through. It just had to be Anubis, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did have to be Anubis. I think that here, we even talked about it with production before we went into this pregame that, honestly, for Anubis' sake, this is one that, Michigan like to see a lot earlier in vetoes than I think you may suggest. I think that, honestly, for that opinion, it's probably not too crazy. But, a lot of these teams will go to kind of strike out a very consistent ancient team rather than trying to go toe-to-toe, just like NCSU did. And I gotta say that it almost paid off. It really almost did. But from where we know NCSU kind of stand on an Anubis standpoint, starting on this defensive side, now that we see, they have an uphill climb. And they have to really have a solid start in order to likely have what is going to be a winning recipe.
See what that recipe is entailing. Michigan's T-side, man. We saw some good things from them previously on this map, but I think NCSU in the same boat, and in as much as they are comfy here. It's a slow crawl towards the A-bomb site. A lot of space gathered up by NCSU, but it's not going to be fast enough. Quick flank, though, is coming through canals. Mr. Myers not affected by the Molotov. Turning and swinging for the fences. He gets 2. Picked off from the flank. It's Electric to get his, and there's one more to be found.
Oh, no.
But Agent Beauchot gets the double up there with Arcranic's help, and both of them are sprinting over to B.
Race to Witch Mountain, and particularly the Wolfpack will meet them there first. Getting into position is the challenge, however, because they're just right around these corners. They're just right outside of the doors. Bomb gonna go down now, and you have to fight in. It's Maize with the kit, and Solaris is gonna be run over, but look at the speed, look at the aggression, but look at the congestion, backed by the Maize, who just put up a huge pistol round. Again, they split on Anubis, but there is a huge point up into Anubis, a T-sided map that we know.
Yeah, it's the way they bring that back. It's NCSU in prime position. Mr. Myers doing so much on the site on A. That little 180 maneuver that he was able to pull off to get 2 kills there, it just doesn't pay off, which is tragic because it was so impressive. But the double up on the flank just doesn't get the value that you would have hoped for. Wolfpack left wanting, left out in the rain. It's 5 strong towards mid, but all USPs.
Oh, Mac 10s are hungry. Now already popping off, but Tristan around the corner. It's long range on the Solaris, and Mr. Myers at least does get one in the corner, but it is all a firing squad onto him, and actually a Weeze around the corner. Particularly slick for Michigan, getting off on a very quick 2-piece.
Yeah, 4 to 5 kills come in through the SMGs too, which is a nice addition to the economy boost Michigan will be enjoying here for the next round. CSU, sort of a classic at this point on the CT side when they take that second round full eco. They go for the MP9s in order to get extra utility out on both of these sites. But it's a quick pace here for Michigan. Spotted out is Arcranic, but Electric wins his. Snifafu goes down, and Tristan playing hard to get. It's 2 players that were in defense of E-Box, and both successful in that endeavor.
Very risky going for a quick B play like this, and honestly, it shows how much of that can be taken advantage of. It's NCSU that get off with the cleanest of rounds, 5 alive out of their initial gun round, and there's probably not a better win margin to have out of that at the moment. I gotta say that was particularly clean. Not a bomb plant as well, so perfect as far as I'm concerned, Vincent. They're standing on it right now. It's AKs to come back. Arcranic a little bit slow to start. However, that Michigan Maize punch just had too little nuance on the front end of it out towards B. They were not convinced. Electric, just up to start, is already nailed down on the spam to 50.
Starting to be a little bit concerned for Michigan. It's just a smidge of concern, not entirely, counting them out here, but I think they were lacking a little bit of nuance on their T side of Vertigo too. And we didn't necessarily need to see all of that on Ancient. Also had some more depth there that I was noticing. That is something that I'm going to be looking for moving forward. Michigan's T side. Here's a flash play. Oh, I like this utility set that's been tossed out to really get Maize into prime position and set him up for success. That smoke in the face of the T's really isolates them and makes life difficult. But our Kranich might have had the worst weaponry to start this round, but he's been the one most successful at opening up avenues for them to win.
Ooh. And burning. It's going to be a audio cue on Maize. It doesn't stop him from just meeting you right at your grill. Maize with another kill out from camera. Snavathu going to be finding his way through A main because he's got a hit on that time. Clocks in just at the right moment. A smoke up towards camera right now as the digits are punched in. But you've been waiting for Maize this entire time. You're waiting for Tristan to get in transition. Right to get that AK and right into the bomb. We're on to a tie game already. And map 3 living up to the legend of this series so far.
Yeah, it's been tight all the way through. It's been a game of back and forth and of these big hero plays and moments for both teams. We're right back in there. It's an NCSU team effort, though, on that last round. Going from a deficit into a victory as well. Michigan trying to claw their way back in, but doesn't quite work out. Now, it's they who are on the back foot, the lesser of the guns. Pistols and no armor even outside of Snarf. Michigan are gonna have to get a little bit more creative than we've seen them here in the last map or two.
Oh, and such clean spams. Did they get off at the start, Vincent? You can't get, I want to say, a better start than that. You wanted me to say, what, a luckier start? They had those figured out. I gotta say that it's a little bit desperate around these. Michigan Maize once were the team that we were praising for their strategy within what was kind of a hopeless, CT side on Vertigo, popping down, winning with a couple of bought up pistols when they really needed it. Here on their T side of Anubis, do not have the majority of this side trying to pop in with these pistols again in middle. They are the ones getting popped this time, in fact.
Yeah, even despite Stefafu having a couple of opportunities, it's playing hard to get these NCSU players. Not giving over too many of those avenues or opportunities to Michigan. The bomb on its back, but our Kranich long road.
Oh, what?
That ends right there.
I mean, it's 5 alive again. In 3 rounds, they have won 2 with all 5 players out. Yeah, your pockets are going to feel a little bit heavier after that. I'll tell you that for free. Look, because NCSU are going to be charging full and throughout on this CT side after. It's desperate. It's Galils. It's, very limited nades, I would say, throughout. But you have to knock back on that very, very friendly door of pace that they look to be leaning towards at the start of A. A Molly that is going to be just at the brunt of this as Electric goes poking around. Nothing seen at Canals to start.
That's a good sign. At least not finding anybody there. NCSU a little bit scared, or at least they should be. Mr. Myers, he's been so crucial, but he was alone. Now he's got support. Solaris, it's his, but Uige, double entry. Throwing it back to mid on Ancient, where he was doubling up. He does the same here on Anubis, and miss smoke for Heaven, but shouldn't be too big of a problem. They have another one there.
Oh, and our Kranich is now ran over.
Oh, they smoked.
Tristan.
Oh, they missed again.
That is a blunder of it right now. The smokes are out in return. Oh, that's going to be a big bug, especially if they try to get active behind it. However, it's still the man advantage, and the bomb is going to be ticking down all on these close swings. It is going to be Michigan that win it out every time. All back to 3-all.
Dude, yeah. Lucky that didn't hurt them in that one. NCSU, but look at how much money they have, Marquis. They were so perfect in those eco rounds and the anti-eco as well. They just have so much to fall back on. One loss, no biggie, no big deal, not a problem. They can buy back in, and NCSU will do so. Electric the big green once more. He's teed up for a mid-fight.
Oh, that timing. Just get off of it. May have just seen the elbow, however. Knows about the presence of one player off of the Molotov, taken to find a little bit of space, all appearing into an opening, and sees a hip. Maced 1 for 1, and that was pushed all the way out from B. Right now, NCSU are going to be at the top of their call at the moment, going for exaggerated plays like that all and throughout is naturally going to see the Maize lean towards E-Box to see if the holes are still all and throughout. Initially, it looks like they are.
Really had to rely on Tristan to get one and delay there. When he doesn't get any and goes down, I think that NCSU could argue for, a save here if the bomb goes down. The bomb will eventually get planted. That Molotov not quite going to be able to reach, and so Incendiary invested, but nothing gained out the back of it. Low HP, but some of this is somewhat unconfirmed. I don't know that NCSU really has the knowledge that they're so low.
Here comes the swing. Mr. Myers can begin to try and manage this, but try and manage her way back with the AWP with it. Michigan Maize managed to scrap together 2 rounds in a row, Vincent. This is going to particularly open the door to try and see the flood through canals back their way, with 2 floating in that direction, with hopefully more to come. Mr. Myers just close and all the way out. I mean, if that's not a ticket onto the raft, then I don't know what is.
It's a statement type of round. I'll say that, Marky. It's one that NCSU, again, have some fallback plans on, but Michigan understanding where, when they lose somebody and they trade quickly, that there's going to be some openings on the CT side, and they correctly target Tristan in E-Box and remove him from play, opening up B for free, essentially, once he's down. So Michigan, I think, doing a great job of focusing in on the right little things, right adjustments to be made. And NCSU, attack timeout as they talk it over. They had quite a bit of money in this, but Marky, they're going for this SMG buy so that they have a lot of firepower in this round for what is ostensibly a bit of an eco.
Yeah, and keeping one just straight, man, for the op, right? Focused on the bank account is Electric. Wanting to get their economy back in check, if not kind of relay a burst of energy back into it with a crazy round that they could go ahead and scalp off with the advanced positioning from outside of A. And look at Mace down in canals here. This is what they find. This is where they set the tempo start to start, but they feel the weight naturally leaning and their eyes turn towards B, or so do the footsteps.
I think that there was some sort of audio cue towards the Rugs player. Kind of had to get an idea. It's Snifafu that I'm talking about.
What?
This was going to be going this way. Snifafu is incredibly dominant in these fights from Canal. Has the range advantage. Eventually falls, but after 3 kills, not enough. Mace grabbing a couple of extra dollars as well as frags is a nice addition. It'll keep Michigan honest at the very least, but T side that certainly seems to be rolling now.
This is what I feared. This really is what I feared. When put into this tempo, money in the pockets then and again. I gotta say that it's not like we haven't seen the Wolfpack have their chance. 2 rounds at the beginning of their CT side that they sort of roped off, where all 5 players are coming out of gun rounds, is got to be something we look back and kind of dawn on to see how courageous this flip has been back from Michigan Maize. This time, Electric trying to get this back towards the Wolfpack, an opening kill that comes through the scope.
That's an op duel that is going to be fun to watch as we continue forward. Snifafu grabs another one. Oh, and that's scary. Mace almost falls on B. Asia Fosho putting out a lot of damage in that direction. And it's, once again, Tristan, who's got a lot in the back pocket. He's got high requirements of him, but he doesn't realize that Asia Fosho is sort of alone. They've collapsed NCSU onto this B site, but that smoke, it's going to give away this position elevator, or at least I thought it would. Solaris now knowing if he wasn't before.
Just jiggling around it. It's going to be a nade that is up on his direction towards heaven, and wow, just enough to give him timing for the headshot. Health down in time. A sight back on the menu for Michigan. And right here, it seems to be a special in motion with 40 seconds left, because the Wolfpack have got to get back on it. Double time, a flick down from Electric. Clearly still alive in this one. It would be 3v3.
Where is the bomb going, man? This is 25 seconds left. Finally, Asian Show creeping out onto the B site, but he's only pizza. And, I mean, they're still maced here, at least tentatively, towards Temple side. He will be smoked off, and he's not fighting it. That Molotov will mean no way forward. And the smoked. Oh, this is a spam that's eventually going to be successful. Electric making this possible. Tristan comes back in, and now Asian Show is all alone. 1v3 from Pizza. We'll see if he can eat good tonight. Adjustment required, but Electric is the man of the hour. Electrifying everyone on the server. NCSU win this round off the back of his AWP.
Even getting the kit to his teammate right at the end. Rather, Tristan handing it right to the MVP arms. That is going to be a huge, huge performance out of the op player at the beginning of this one. All the way to the bloody end, man. I gotta say, tip your hat over towards Electric's direction. Currently sitting with 9 frags, but currently felt a whole lot heavier in round 10. This is where Snarf is going to have to send back just as bold of a claim.
Yeah, he had an op before, and he didn't win out on this duel. I think that right now, Electric, these last 2 maps, Vertigo and now Anubis, have been Electric winning the op battle for me, where it was more about Snarf on Ancient. So that's got to be a turning point.
No opening kill for Electric this time. Ooh, big nade gonna be right at the feet of Solaris. But still the time it tempos across the map in Michigan Maize. They try and fish for an opening kill. Trying to beat around the bush as well, the Wolfpack, through Tristan's firing into E-Box. Close, but no cigar, Vincent. 60 seconds now ticking on the clock, where the A-split becomes the top priority.
It's one puff, and that smoke fades away in mid. At least from the T-side's perspective. Solaris still there, but having to play respectfully of another smoke in his face. Electric is in the right place every time. Now he's called him back in. Utility, Molotovs, and a flashbang that are really delaying Michigan's approach into this thing. They get the molly out eventually for Cake, but now they got a lot to deal with. That's a great shot out of Weege, and another double entry. This guy comfortable on A. It's 2 for either side as they try and get back in here.
And significant positioning for Tristan on that timing to try and get in during the plant was so important. Snarf goes down on such a thin angle through a main. And right here, Asian for show put into another clutch scenario. Was on Pizza last time, now on the lip of Cat, is now walked all the way out. Right here, it is NCSU bringing the pack back together for a 5th round in a tied game.
Anytime you think NCSU are tagged out of either a round or a map or a half, they just bring it back. They never show any signs of stopping, and this is another one of those rounds where it could have gone so badly there. Michigan had the site, they had so much space to work with, and they end up losing to the retake. NCSU, stay in it, keep themselves alive, and I think now you have to, even with 2 rounds left in the half, Marquis, say this is a good half from NC State. They got so much done already, and there's still more that they could do.
Oh, it's just neck and neck right here to the end, but they're not done fighting. Neither are Michigan Maize, and it's a big decision to happen here in 11, and you see some of the upgraded pistols starting to fill a couple of the hands at the moment, and that's so they have the long game figured out. Most are focused on the now, and right here, Michigan Maize, they want to make sure that they will have a clue right into 12, but not currently pushing out right here what's prioritized in 11. Right back to the ways they were just in at the end of round 10. Going to try and pop into A, and we'll see what they can get.
In one of these types of rounds, I mean, we've had one of these in every single map where you're down on your luck, and there's just pistols in hand, and a victory out of nowhere has come to the front of this. But Michigan, is this the time that happens? They're going to be tossing smoke right in. Got to go through it. A4,
wow.
It was the weapon for the job, but it's Glocks together strong with those upgrades, a Molotov to make sure that a post plant can get into position.
I mean, I gotta say, it's only one frag, but unbelievable amounts of damage there. The trade-off is unconfirmed. Mollied out of game ender. That was the last remains of Mr. Myers in the round, but tracked is Tristan right into the grave, and Maize has got a huge kill onto Maize, but Letra can only go about as the op will sing. Now has to go as quick as he can. A molly that's going to be up in the heaven. Just got to find the line. It's Agent for Show and Michigan that put it on their backs to the end of the 6th round, and guess what? That investment pays off. They got money in the bank, baby.
I mean, it's exactly the same. It's exactly what I talked about right there at the beginning of the round. We've seen one of these every single map, and Michigan pick it up this time round. Pistols are supreme, and NC State are devastated with regard to their economy. It's SMGs for everybody, as Mr. Myers has some support in the form Solaris, who goes down. Agent Show removes Maize's head. Missed shot from the op, but it's just a little bit of a clawback for NCSU on round 12.
Getting active in the middle, Michigan Maize are at the moment. To find a foot back into Temple. Have it split, right back onto this B side. Tristan. Here's the voices. Here's the footsteps that are damn loud in the back of his head. Just having a bullet in the pistol to whip it out 1v2. But Tristan down to 13. Now down to his last doubts. It is 1 HP. To keep this thing from going to a 7-5, Vincent, I say good luck to Tristan as he goes forth.
Yeah, 13 or 12 HP just isn't a lot to work with. And this is a pretty good crossfire set as well. Say that, actually, Weege steps forward, allows Tristan to clear him without actually having to commit. Agent Show, unaffected though by the flashbang, and seen on the edge of the smoke will be that 7-5 half. Michigan Maize winning out there at the end, and it's all thanks to that eco win that they have a lead at all.
Oh man, with how much emphasis we have put onto these pistol rounds in every single map, going back and forth 1 for 1 on Vertigo, with how hard they split the hairs down. The most important one is now up onto the plate, which is already warm. Here into 13, leaning towards both of these squads are going to be in for a clash.
That clash right at A main. Maize has gone for 1. Unfortunately, the rest of the team has fallen in his stead. He has to go back towards A. Wait a second, a Weege falling back. It isn't going to be any sort of defense on B, and it would have been perfect if Tristan didn't find a way to get his position forward and devastate that.
Oh no!
They clear out E-Box, but nobody looking Temple side. It's all gone wrong here for NCSU. How does that happen?
Communication awry, everything, the plan askew, right there, trying to do a little bit too much clearly, cost the Wolfpack that and much more. They're footing into the second half, they're footing in the quarterfinals. This is the 3rd map that was being decided by the smallest of margins here to be widened by Michigan taking a huge pistol round.
Dude, NCSU, they lost early. Michigan making all the right plays, only for NCSU to have the answers, and then that happens. Backs turned, unseen, untouched, go Michigan back into B-bomb site. And NCSU, they're not going to stop. They are going to continue applying the pressure with this bomb plant. Straight on to A, and it's something that NCSU, they saw what could happen on this previous half. Mr. Myers trading Stafafu, and its weapons that have been recovered.
What?
Solaris overwhelms. Oh no, Marky, it's happening again.
I gotta say, I'm dumbfounded right now. There's no way this is going this way. They pop it off a no bomb plant. Mac 10's and Tech 9. And they just pants them. They weren't ready. I gotta say. Now with 4 out alive, I say run for the hills. Give them a nice warning for how the Wolfpack are not going to be giving up in this game. We were just singing the praises of Michigan for now just putting a gap a little bit further. Now it's going to be sent in the other direction with Electric to probably get a word in from Snarf right here. Let's see when he goes poking in. It is against Electric, but he does get out cleanly. Not a double dip, usually forbidden. Does he go for a third? That would have definitely struck the rules in a playbook I wouldn't have liked.
Yeah, I mean, he went for it. Just didn't have time. And I think probably fortunate for Snarf, actually, in that one. So as much as that's was a big win for Michigan, picking up 2 pistols here, NCSU fight back immediately. They show that they're not done yet. And interesting. Oh my gosh, they just got airstriked. NCSU drop a couple of HEs at the entrance of B and remove the majority of the CTs. It's Michigan, at least 1 left alive in our Kranich, who trades out the final man there. But NCSU have the A-bomb site. They have it planted, and our Kranich, I would honestly be down to see him try to save, but it's a long time that he's going to have to wait.
Yeah, since when are NCSU coached by Zonic? Looking like a Strawless back in the day. Oh, dude, that was great. That was great. Now a 1v3 for our Kranich to survive around and bask in the disaster that is the beginning of the second half.
Goes from good to just horrific so fast. Fall back a pistol round. Seems like it's out of nowhere, but NCSU, they play out of nowhere. Like
There's a lot.
Oh no.
What?
He got him.
And he gets the AK too? Dude.
That's ridiculous. He yoinked that as it was dropping onto the ground as well. That's absurd. Michigan, it's their tight lead that they'll have. Wait. I thought they saved. I thought
Cooking their books at the moment.
Yeah, I thought they had a little extra money last round. I didn't think that 5-man rush... Didn't even look at the money. 5-man rush towards B, I just assumed was an eco. With the 2 weapons saved. No, it's the opposite. They full invested there. 5-man strong once again, but a boatload of T's in the way. Mr. Myers, he's back to Vertigo form as he leads the charge with Electric as well.
Oh boy. A big round that is on the horizon, as each one is. How do you go every single day living with the pressure that they do, Vincent? One day at a time, right? One round at a time here. You get back into the mix where, I gotta say, even Solaris, we're kind of waiting for that pop-off moment. But certainly floating with the best of them right now at a T-sided gauge where the pistol round wasn't falling their way. It really, really was not looking great for them. However, sitting where they are, a big turn of things could come of this.
I mean, this is one of those rounds we love to talk about, Marky, where the game not on the line, but it's about moving in the right direction. And this could be one to set the tone. An NCSU that have started to build up a little bit, but Michigan, they need a win here. They really need a win, and pretty bad. NCSU. This is why I think Anubis is good for them stylistically. This is where they are at their best, when they play a little slower default style.
What? Dude, screw the tactical style. I mean, some of these are coming down to this. I mute your point, but I completely agree with you. Stylistically, you got to be able to kind of go whiplash, be able to throw punches both ways. But right here, sometimes in online Counter-Strike, you just get slapped across the face, and you can't even tell the teacher.
Snarf got deleted. It wasn't even fair. Nafafu is going to try and walk this back in, but spotted on the cross. It's well handled. A little odd that NCSU haven't made a decision to go B yet, but now they do. Confirmation of both of these individuals that are left. Oh, Thought Solaris had that. No. And this isn't a round that's particularly winnable for Michigan for how far they are out of it, but they have done a little bit more damage. They made sure that they can save these two weapons. That's something. Something for what would have been nothing probably should have been nothing.
Yeah, I gotta say that holding on to just about anything here is the name of the game of Anubis, especially where you do have that big green still in the mix. You know, push that towards mid. Put a couple of pistol players towards A. Put a couple of, one guy to sit on top of the bottom of the bottom of the totem pole. Boost up our Kranich. If he can get past this next slide on a tight angle, he does not get the grade he wanted.
I really think they needed that gun, to be honest with you.
They so badly needed it.
Yeah. So, as much as our Kranich's gotten away with that most of the time, that's one where he doesn't. And I'm down to be praising him when he does, but he also gets, it's the talk when he doesn't, right? Like, probably didn't need to step forward, needed to have that AK this round, because now it's all up to Snarf.
Movement significantly by the Wolfpack into A main. Oh, and Asian Fasho, he's going to be knocked down to 50. Spotting where Snarf has been showing his presence into E-Box at the start of this one. Got to just stuff it right where it started. Tristan going to try and fade the smoke. And CSU now waiting for something to drop. Have our Kranich's head that does that for them.
And just a patient maneuver.
Dude.
Out of NCSU. Snafafu gets his, and it's all about Snarf, as I said before. Oh, hold on.
No.
Missed shot. That could have been the way back in, and it might still be. Snafafu's grabbed it up, claimed it for himself, and brought it back through. Oh, a quick shot. It's all coming together. Except Laris, he might not be aware of this flank of the flanker.
Just was aware of it for a moment now. Gonna go swinging back. Solaris on a corner of a peak is gonna be slammed down into the dirt. And Snafafu, the star of Michigan Maize, through the darkest of moments, glimmers through at a 9-9 tail where they needed the loudest of a play, and they got it.
It's an illegal play with an illegal op. Can't have Luminosity and Liquid stickers on the same gun. That is not okay. And Snafafu snuffs them out. And in the round, again and again, where they need him the most, he shows up to knock them down. And CSU, though, keep getting back up every single time. And they're going to do so once again. Weapons hot once more. This to be another gun round.
Snarf with a huge opener. Still riffing off of the upset that they posted in round 18. This is where the motion can naturally come back towards the Michigan side, who have proven to be more disciplined throughout this entire series. We've called that into question towards the end of Anubis, but right here, it's seeming like they're just getting the easy ones at the start of round 18. Round 19, rather.
I mean, these are the easy ones. The first kill, not so much, but the second one, certainly so. Now, Michigan can fall back on being, a little bit more disciplined. Bafu tucks in. Doesn't have to play much of anything here. Especially not when they're reliant on him to be such a crucial piece of the defense on A. It is going to be a bomb site that NCSU set their sights on. Utility such that they can smoke off heaven and get a Molotov for camera. Snafafu just lets him have it. There's no need to play for the bomb site itself. You just gotta contain.
But still, this is wiggle room that they have given up. And we have seen teams do more with less. But they have just spent the largest of their margins nades out. So are the big bodies. Tristan going to be into the dirt. And the stairs angle is really, really electric. But just poisoned at the sight of one. It's 4 players onto the bomb site. And Mr. Myers can try and tote largely from A main. But he is just going to be put in the same sized casket. Michigan Maize, the first team to find double digits. Where you look on and you see Fisher College going to be sitting in the semifinals. We need one more semifinalist to be crowned here at NECC, and they're waiting on this Anubis map, but Michigan Maize want a taste of that in the semis.
Now they do. The Wolfpack, though, they are chomping at the bit to get the same opportunity. And so, sometimes it's about waiting. And sometimes it's about taking your time. Tactical timeout, to be precise, in CSU. Hold their horses. Wait until you can get some input. And the call here is to eco. I think the right one, if you're asking me. But it still allows space, and this is where you could really, really appreciate one of those hero plays where they get something with nothing. Smoke times 2, 1 flashbang to sit them onto the A-bomb site.
Damage is the name of the game. Better call for the control on the side of Michigan. Snufafu going to be backing this one up with the deepest of his utility belt yet to be shown. Molly in the smoke waiting in the works, Vincent.
Such a good call to isolate Snufafu. They know he's been solo here so often.
They go up before the flash. Is Snufafu going to swing on that? Now have to be particular about how they carry this one forward. Are Kranich going to be willing to just stay in the pocket and throw the pass? Here, he just stands up to it, and they clean it up on the board. Didn't even need to call the cleaning crew because they did it themselves. 11 on the side of Michigan Maize, probably a little bit more swiftly than we expected.
So many times, though, I find myself looking back at NCSU in a round where they lose, but I'm thinking, man, what a good idea. They had all of the right pieces to the puzzle. Just didn't have them situated correctly. Maybe they had turned them 90 degrees in the wrong direction and they didn't quite fit together, but it was all there. That was what that round was for me and for the Wolfpack. But Michigan, they stand the test of time. They win that round, and now they have 11. One more gun round is what NCSU have on offer.
Trying to manipulate the control that Michigan Maize purely have given to them through the wealth. They have to take advantage of timings that can be shown and gambled for here. It pays off with the percentages in middle, just phasing into it. However, meanwhile on the other side, it's Snarf just maintaining this control of E-Box towards B, not really even having a hint as to anything going on. It's an elbow scene. Snarf going for a peek and going 2 for 2. The Opper is doing everything right now, Vincent, to put their hands on 12.
Dude, for as much as I was talking about that duel, and as much as Electric was winning it on the CT side, what a time for Snarf to come alive. He's been owning the CT side for Michigan. It's not even close. It set them up for 3-on-5. NCSU got to do a lot of heavy lifting to even get onto this site, and that's maybe too much to ask. Hold on. Mace gets his. Solaris grabs 2, and it's a 2-on-2. Blink and you miss it.
And a long flank already being prepared. Or Kranich can just bring the elbow down, but Mace on his face put one into place. Now in a 1v1 with Snufafu versus Mace. The stars face out, but the Supernova is on the side of the CTs. Michigan pulls one up to 12 through Snufafu's barrel again.
It was looking like a classic Mace type of round, but Snufafu puts the pin in that and says, no, it's my time, it's my semifinal spot, and it's my match point 12-9, as NCSU have a long road that could be ended right here and now. They don't win this one. 3 maps. And the distance on all 3. Oh, it was a nice idea. The potential for the run boost, and he gets them both. Tags on 2, but no completions. Not yet. Finally so. But Solaris through smoke dispatches with Organic. How does that happen?
This is insane. And just brutal here towards the end. It could be a smashing onto the curb straight up by the Wolfpack. Snufafu smells blood in the water and wants to come and take a big bite. He does, and he rules the land. Clearly not in his small pond anymore. Looking to face off into the semifinal against guess who? The Falcons of Fisher College in a 2 versus 4. They can put the last stamps on this and go further in this fall semester.
Should be that. but it could be more. Mace still alive, and Mr. Myers, those are the guys that NCSU has relied upon time after time to clutch up when required. But getting the bomb, a difficult one to pick up. That's going to be an extra gun in the hands now of Mr. Myers as well, more than likely. Hold on a second. All three Michigan players are here, and they're inching their way forward. Another duel, but one that will be won. It's a 1-for-1 trade. They double swing, and Michigan will make their way to the semis.
Right there where they need to be, coming all the way from Group A. The only people they could not pass were the Aggies of Texas A&M, but now facing off against the big dogs of Fisher College in the semifinals in a crazy series that I think we all earn the respect and that much more of the Wolfpack tonight. However, it was what we were talking about in just a little bit more of a gap that we see on the side of that Michigan plate. I think that it showed kind of in spades on Ancient just when the margin was razor thin, but being able to manipulate the end of that map through Snarf's op was particularly hard to deal with through that T side. And man, I don't think the Wolfpack had an answer, Vince, and it certainly did not seem like it.
No, a game at the margins, that's kind of what you're saying, and I couldn't agree more. There is a lot that happens in the, in the last moments of rounds, in those clutch scenarios that I think really helped pull Michigan over the edge. But yeah, Snufafu has to be like the big talking point coming out of this. He was there all series long, had constant success, and I think that, a matter of showing up when it matters. I think that's what Snarf was doing. But as a whole, I think Michigan need to be patting Stefafu on the back and saying, yeah, I mean, you did a great job here. Picked up the pieces when sometimes things were broken beyond repair.
Yeah, I think that being able to sort of shift back off your foot, Snufafu getting that help. But, I make like the very daring metaphor of comparing Snufafu's performance to Michael Jordan earlier. But I mean, his Scottie Pippins and co. stood up so loudly, especially in that third map. I mean, our Kranich was insane. Dunking over the top with Snarf. I gotta say that throughout the edges, Asian Fasho was particularly effective. Weege, I can go ahead and call out the whole team if you want me to. I just did, right? There were moments through every single belt, and a special shout to the mouth that replaced Dual Jack, right? I think it's so impressive that Weege just comes in here in the quarterfinals and has that solid of a performance.
Yeah, it's incredible. And as you were teeing up multiple times, that sets our semifinalists, right? Fisher College up against Michigan Maize is the first one, and then Texas A&M, the Aggies, up against a tough Northwood University team that is going to be very difficult. I think both of those both of those matchups have clear favorites and underdogs where, that allows for the opportunity to kind of move forward. Unfortunately, that's the end of the line for the Wolfpack. Yeah. And I think, want to shout out that program just in general. I think for me, they've done a great job with the pieces they have. Like, I think that they have a strong team that I was alluding to it before. It's to me been clear that they set themselves up for success by having a strong backbone of players, then build around into a system that makes sense with what they've got. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have somebody like a Snufafu who can play at the level consistently as a star, but you have these pieces that sometimes seem disparate but come together and really make some music. I think that's really cool, and I think they've done a good job. These last 2 semesters, I've gotten the privilege to get to know what they have to offer, and it's been beautiful to see. And another playoff for them is a win in my book, even if they go out here.
Yeah, I think like facing up very well against this challenge today in the vetoes where the challenges come and they're right on the nose. And I like to celebrate a program as well that grinds outside of these collegiate circuits, right? I was talking about 8-3 in IM, currently still facing off at another, playoff belt this season, looking up onto the postseason of that. Should be a lot of fun for them, grinding out in those best of 1 officials over there. But it's very, very impressive all across the board from this squad. And I mean, how thin that was on Ancient was just insane. I mean, there are worlds where this falls to a 2-0 very easily for the Wolfpack tonight. But I don't think that you can be too disappointed if you're the Wolfpack kind of rolling out of this. I think that at points you showed what looks to be your best. I think that if you're the competitor that I think you are coming out of this, you're going to be saying either way how better we played. There was mistakes, right? And it even goes towards the other way. You can point that out. Remember how many 1v1s that Tristan had kind of lost in transition there, where now at the end of the game, we're looking at him sort of towards the bottom of the scoreboard, where names and plays like his are kind of forgotten. So it's a whole lot to unpack here into an off season where they're not going to get too comfortable, right? Talking about what they will have in front of him, Vincent. But NECC was not a failure for this Wolfpack this season.
No, not a chance. But these matchups tantalizing in the semifinals. They get me energized, and I tell you what,
Certainly.
so does one of our partners over at G Fuel. I do want to mention we got a giveaway that's happening. If you didn't know, we are giving away 1 tub of G Fuel to 2 lucky winners. You can type !G Fuel in chat right now, and you could be one of those lucky winners. I think you should definitely get on that, as well as big shout out to the code you can use, NECC20, for 20% off all of G Fuel products. Them alongside our other partners at Winzel Farms help make this all possible. Keeps the lights on here at the NECC, and we appreciate them. Marky, that being said, man, it's been a pleasure as always. Counter-Strike, though, done and dusted. We got Rocket League coming up tomorrow, and then Overwatch to close out our week 1 of the playoffs here at the NECC. So we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you here next time. Peace out, and have a good night.